become a chat now. Okay. Emerging AI. You will do the same thing. Wow. I didn't know that as well. That's a contradiction. Hey, hold on. It's a noble product. Accessibility problems in this tool. Hey everyone, I'm back with another case study review today, and this one belongs to Urjit Gupta, a college student. And Urjit says that this was a part of a design competition that he had participated along with two of his friends, and we have the case study with us today. If you want your case study to be reviewed as well, head on to my community at nas.io/sapta. I will leave the link in the description, and look for this forum which says showcasing design portfolio and sharing feedback. Drop your link there, and every week I pick one case study that I review on a video like this. Before we begin, I would like to call out that a portfolio alone cannot get you a job. It can at best get you an interview, and that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to review this case study as if it had been a real portfolio that had come to me for review. And also note that all the opinions and the thoughts that I share as a part of this review are my personal, and it no way reflects the opinion of my present employer Swiggy or any other company that I might work for in the future. And of course, as usual, I have Urjit's consent to review this portfolio on this video. So let's get right to business. So here we are in the case study. It's called SignSense and it's hosted on behance.com. It's a good platform to have your case studies. And I see that it has multiple owners. So it's Ayush Gupta, Tanmay Avasthi, and Urjit Gupta. So Urjit Gupta is the one who has approached me. So I would be reviewing it with the lens if I would call Urjit for the interview or not. And for that, it's very important for me to know which part of this Urjit has worked on, because I see multiple owners out there. So let's get into it. SignSense, there's a nice clean banner at the top inspired by Apple, I assume. I actually like the gradient that is behind. Okay, it says Google Lens. So I think it's got something to do with Google Lens. Let's go and see. Background, WFD or World Federation of the Deaf. More than 70 million people worldwide use sign languages as their primary means of communication. I think this is a source of the data. Does this 70 million people include people who are deaf and mute? Or does it also include people whose senses are working fine, but they communicate with other people who are deaf and mute? So they also technically become users of sign language, right? That part is not called out here. It's important because I need to understand who you are making this tool for, whatever you're proposing, the solution. So I guess it'll be covered later. Let's go and see. A quick challenge for you. Okay, challenge for me. Let's see. Can you understand the meaning of the ASL sign language or signs shown below? This plus this plus this. Okay, these are probably the options A, B, and C that I need to pick. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's see. The answer is go again. Okay. The answer is go again. So this plus this plus this actually means go again. Okay, I got to learn something new today. Nice. But did you get it right? No, I didn't even attempt. You might be correct, but not always. Absolutely. We Team Pixel. Team Pixel. Okay, it's the name of your hackathon team, I guess. I think. Okay, that's a team. But Team Pixel also reminds me of the phone, Pixel phone, which Google used to make a while back. Anyways, right? We Team Pixel want to work on something that could help improve sign language understanding. Okay, sign language understanding. Sure. Let's design. Okay. Discover, we began by learning about how sign languages function, who uses it, how well it works, and the role of technology in it. I see some sort of a word cloud here with just, some of the words which probably they have thought about, how sign language work, tech products, role of AI and stuff like that. Qualitative research. Okay. After going through a lot of articles, blogs, and research paper, we concluded that our target audience got some insight about. We concluded that our target audience got some insight about what are the challenges they face and how they are solving it. Okay, I got it, but I think the sentence construction from a grammar point of view you need to look at, because I didn't understand whether you did the qualitative research to understand who your target audience is, or did you do the qualitative research to know what the challenges they face, and maybe you've already understood and figured out who your target audience is. That part isn't clear, right? And if you already knew what your target audience is, it should come before. You should have told it before. But I see you mentioned it here. Okay, anyways, the target audience is deaf, mute, and speech impaired people. Okay, so deaf are the people who cannot hear, mute are the people who cannot speak at all, and speech impaired are the people who can speak, but then they have some disability in that, is what I'm saying. So this is not for people who have their senses working, but they don't know sign language. For example, maybe I can speak, I can hear, but if I were to communicate with someone who is deaf and mute, I don't know sign language. So how do I do? So this tool isn't for me. I'm not the target audience, is what it's saying. It's the target audience are the people who are deaf, mute, and speech impaired. Let's go ahead and see how they're going to make it work. There exist more than 300 type of sign languages around the world. Wow. I didn't know that as well. Okay, I'm learning quite a lot from this. Depending upon the region, the meaning of signs may vary. Oh, I was under the impression that these are all global. Okay, so there are also languages within sign language. Wow, interesting. The most used sign languages globally are American, British, Chinese, and Indian. Okay, good that we have an Indian one as well. Their challenges. There as in your target audience's challenge, I guess. Okay. Communication barriers, of course, difficulty in communicating between those who do not know sign languages, like the example that I was quoting. Employment obstacles, emergency situations, limited accessibility, educational. Hey, hold on. Aren't the remaining 4 subsets of communication barrier, right? You have one and only problem, right? If you're deaf and mute, you're not able to communicate with someone who probably can hear and speak, or probably someone who doesn't know the sign language. So your communication barrier is the one and only problem. All these things that you're talking about are essentially subsets of communication barrier, right? So why put the global, the main group, and also have the smaller things outside, the subsets of it outside? I don't know, right? It just feels like all these are already present. See, it's not that these are 5 are the only challenges. They face millions of challenges, and all these challenges can be grouped under one category, or maybe 2. I don't know. In this case, 1, I guess, which is communication barriers. There's no point calling communication barriers and just taking 4 out of those million challenges out and saying that these 5 are the challenges. If you know what I'm saying, right? So either say that there's only one challenge, which is communication barrier, and that's what we're going to fix. These 4 are already a part of communication barrier. Let's get into it. Existing solutions and their limitations. Okay, it's a nice touch. So you're also saying that there are some existing solutions. There are solutions which exist, but they have some limitations. So you're calling out the limitations, and then you're also saying how your solution will overcome those limitations which exists in the existing solutions. Let's see. Convey through writing. Okay, more time consuming. And also, they should know how to write, because what if they don't know how to write, right? What if they're illiterate or they don't know a particular language? Anyways, but more time consuming, fair enough. Communication devices for the deaf, less accessible to all. Communication devices for the... I don't know what those devices are. It feels like something like a typewriter. Maybe, you type, and I see a similar device here also. So maybe as you type, you hear. Maybe that's what it is. Okay? All right. Communication relay services. So it's like maybe I'm calling somebody else to understand. Dependency on others. Okay, I don't know much about that. I mean, I have to confess, I don't know much about these devices. Maybe I should go read up more. But since I do not know, and since you also haven't explained, I'm not fully getting it. So I will just leave those 2 things out there. I'm assuming there are some sort of challenges. Okay. The third one is an AI software to communicate with deaf and mute in real time, less accessible to all. Okay, so you're saying that there are AI softwares which exist, which can help you communicate, but they're less accessible. Why are they less accessible? I see a picture of a laptop. So maybe they don't have a laptop. Is that what you're saying? But they can run it on their mobile. Okay, anyways, because I saw that you're using Google Lens. That's an image that I saw. So I'm assuming you're still relying on a digital solution, maybe a mobile phone. So whatever AI software you're talking about can run on mobile phone as well, right? Okay, let's see. An AI software because less accessible. Okay, since you're saying, I'll believe it. AI-based product to help impaired speech. Expensive. Okay, by seeing the image, it feels like it's AI-based. When you say AI-based product, it's a hardware product that you're talking about, because AI software is the digital, AI hardware is the physical product. So you're saying AI softwares are less accessible, AI hardwares are more expensive. I think that's what you're trying to say. Okay. Area of opportunities. Okay, there's a define out here. After analyzing the existing solution, we examine where they are lacking and how can we incorporate those as our strengths, defining them as our areas of opportunities. Okay. Areas of opportunities are emerging AI accessibility, efficiency of using AI. Hey, did you not just say that AI exists, but they're not accessible. And then, okay, physical product, you said that, it is expensive. How can, your AI be a limitation as well as an opportunity? So, okay, I don't fully understand, because here you're saying that AI softwares exist, but they are less accessible. So are you solving the accessibility problem? Are you educating these people that, hey, there is this tool which exists, go use it, right? Is it that? I don't know, because this feels, at least up to this point of time, it feels a bit of contradiction. Okay, we'll see what's there ahead. And also, if I just look at the area of opportunities part, it says emerging AI and also efficiency using AI. I mean, aren't they same? Of course, AI is emerging as a technology, and you are using AI, right? These are one and same thing. So how are these three different things, right? It could simply be, use AI and accessibility, or solve accessibility or something like that. Maybe there are two areas of opportunities. Why do you have to split that and make three? It just feels like maybe, you had come up with two, and then suddenly, hey, two doesn't feel right. Maybe they should have three, otherwise it not feel like we are doing a great work. And then you choose to break one of them and have three. Okay, now it's looking good. I see a similar thing at the top as well. Maybe there was only one challenge. You all knew that. And then you thought that, hey, one challenge feels too small a problem statement because it was a design competition. And then you said, okay, let us break that down into four. And these are redundancy, my friends, right? So you'll have to see how can you make it crisper, where, you use fewer words, but it communicates everything. All right. As technology has progressed, we have seen the emergence of better AI tools that are more accessible and efficient. This has led us to consider using AI as a possible solution. Okay, so you are saying that the accessibility in design, is that what you're talking about? Is that what you meant, that less accessible, the AI tools were badly designed, so they were not accessible? Is that what you're trying to say? Not very clear, okay? Because accessible could also mean that I don't have access to it. Maybe I don't know about it. Maybe I don't have the money to buy it or not, right? So what accessibility you're talking about isn't very clear here, okay? All right, let's see. Problem statement. How can AI be used to enhance the lives of individuals who use sign languages? Okay, I got it. But then again, it feels too generic because, you have already shunned two AI-based solutions saying one is less accessible, one is more expensive. And now you're saying that your problem statement is again the same thing, that, you will do the same thing. So it's saying that, hey, there are solutions which exist. Those solutions are bad or those solutions are expensive. My solution is good. Is that what you're saying? Sure. But you are playing high stakes if you're actually doing that. Okay, let's see. Ideation. We began by brainstorming all possible ideas, taking into account all our areas of opportunities and considering all the potential scenarios where sign language is used. All right. Here's a word cloud sort of thing again, installed in multiple devices, an AI extension and all CCTV cams and all. Okay, I will leave that and just get here, because here you have summarized them. We have listed the top ideas which we would like to go further. Live AI translation. Okay, nice. Integration with Google Lens. Okay, integration into online meetings like Hangouts and Zoom or something. Integration into CCTVs. Okay, CCTV cameras. Interesting. Even for other systems like smart glasses. Okay, how many people use smart glasses? But okay, you're thinking about the future. Good to know that. Let's see. We then thought of creating an ecosystem considering all the scenarios and making the solution the most effective and the efficient and effective ones. Okay, so there's a graphic again. One solution may help to learn and teach, smart glasses, inclusivity. Okay, this is a kind of word cloud sort of thing. Okay, introducing Sign Sense. Okay, nice. And okay, there are two snapshots as well, how it will be used. Let's have a look. Okay, Sign Sense, an AI-powered sign language translator for greater inclusivity by integrating into Google Lens, CCTVs, and video conferencing app. Okay, I think that's a good sentence where you are explaining what Sign Sense is in just one sentence. It's nice. Got it, right? Okay, here's the representation of the same. Meet Vanshika. Okay, so she's a persona. Let's see. A deaf person who uses sign language. Okay, so Vanshika cannot hear. Deaf means she cannot hear at all, not hard of hearing, deaf. Okay, her dog gets sick, but she doesn't have any nearby vets. She meets someone and tries to convey the message through her signs, but the person is not familiar with sign language. Okay, so here Vanshika, who is deaf, is interacting with someone who probably can hear or cannot hear. It is not mentioned out here, but the other person doesn't know sign language. That's what is being spoken about here. I'm assuming if you're talking about any person that you're interacting with, the probability of someone who can hear is higher. That's why probably they don't know sign language. Maybe someone like me. So Vanshika meets me and asks me where the vet is, but I don't understand sign language. So what will Vanshika do? Probably Vanshika will use sign sense to do something. Let's see. All right. Search. So Google search. Existing thing. Okay. So the other person opens Google Lens to translate her signs into text. Other person. Who's the other person? Hold on. He goes to she meets someone. She meets someone. So that someone is the other person. So the other person opens Google Lens to translate her signs into text. But did you not say that your solution, your target audience were people who are deaf, mute, and speech impaired? I think that was one of the first things that I called out. Like, who are you making it for? People who are deaf, mute, and self-impaired? Or people who have their senses right, but they interact with deaf, mute, and speech impaired? But you clearly called out that you are making it, your target audience is only deaf, mute, and speech impaired. But here you are talking about that the other person, who probably has their senses right, the other person opens Google Lens. That's a contradiction. You didn't define your target audience right. Okay, let's have a look. Maybe it'll get answered. Let's see. Okay, click on sign sense options. Okay, this is like the Google Lens interface itself, where there are multiple options that you can pick. And the moment I pick sign sense, an intro screen will be shown here. Okay, it's a white screen which says convert your sign language into text or speech. Okay, the screen doesn't have any button or anything. How do I go to the next step? I don't know. Okay. And then now I see a camera. This looks like a camera because I see a shutter button here for video capture. So it started with a white screen with this, and then it became a camera. What is this? Is it a screen which just stays for 1 or 2 seconds and then goes away? It's not clear because you haven't mentioned about it. You just said the intro screen will be shown. How does one go from the intro screen to the camera interface? That's not clear out here. Okay, let's see. Record the gestures. So I'll have to hit record. So again, mind it, it's the person who Vanshika has met. Someone who has their senses right has taken out. Okay, someone's using sign language. Hold on, I'll take my camera out and I will do a Google Lens. That's what we are seeing here. So record the gestures. Received real-time translation of sign language into text. Okay, nice. Hey, my name is... So based on whatever Vanshika has done and I've recorded in the camera, it gets translated. Hey, my name is Vanshika. I need little help from you. Do you know any good vet? Okay, it's essentially what she wanted to say. Okay. It become a chat now. Okay. This was a camera, and then suddenly it became a chat here. How? When? I mean, how does one go from that step to this step and this step to the other step? It just feels like all these are disconnected things, right? You had shown the preview here, and now you're showing the preview like a chat. Like, had it been a chat interface, why not start from there? Because I don't see any way to maybe go back here. What if Vanshika is adding a few more gestures, and then how do I go back to the camera? Shouldn't there be something like, I see a back button. So is it always about going back? Man, this part isn't clear. This part isn't clear. Okay. All right. Let's see. Text can be heard as speech. So whatever Vanshika has said with the gestures converts into text like this. I can either read the text or I can even hear it as a speech because I have a read aloud option here. Okay. Entering the reply in the form of text. So how will I reply to Vanshika? I don't know sign language. Maybe I will type it out. Okay. Yeah, you can find a good vet. Just walk straight for 10 minutes. You will see it your left. Okay. Translation of the text message to sign language through avatar makes it easier for Vanshika to understand them. Okay. I get it. But if Vanshika can read, can I not just show her this? What's the point of having its sign language again? Are you assuming that Vanshika cannot read? Vanshika cannot read English language or whichever language we're communicating in? If that's the case, okay, I understand this. Okay. I don't know. So you're saying that a translation will happen. Some 3D avatar will come and do those sign language for Vanshika, which she can understand. That's what you're saying. Okay. Vanshika felt relieved and grateful that her dog could receive a care it needed just because the sign sense made Vanshika communicate at ease. Okay, got it, got it. Some sort of communication happened. But if I look at the design that you have done out here, right? There's no clarity as to how does one go from this screen to that screen. There's no indication for me as to which button should I tap or what gesture should I do that I'll go from one screen to another. It's not said anywhere. And these things that you're talking about, these are already existing things of Google Lens. Google already has these tabs out there, and there are different options that you can pick. Also, this is a present technology challenge. I'm pretty sure Google Lens very soon would be in a stage where you won't have to pick an option, from the image itself that you capture. That itself Google will be able to figure out whether it's a search or a sign sense or a homework or a translation or a text or anything, right? It is just a option that they have. So by introducing a new tab, what are you representing? I'm not able to gauge your design knowledge or your design understanding here. Remember, right? I'm reviewing this case study to gauge you as a person, and only then I can decide if I will call you for an interview, because this feels like something which already exists in Google Lens. So where is your work? And if I see your work in these screens, I don't really see ways how can one go from one screen to another. How can they go back and stuff like that? So there are basic accessibility problems in this tool, and you are saying that the existing tools have accessibility problem. Okay, let's proceed further and see what else is there. Okay. All right. Thanks to SignSense. We have integrated SignSense to Google Lens because every smartphone has an inbuilt and most people are familiar with the interface. This makes SignSense more accessible to all. Okay. So this is the reach. That accessibility is what you're talking about. Got it. So that's why you said, have it in an app which is already present in your phone perhaps, and then do it. Got it. Okay, sure, makes sense. But in that case, why did you say your target audience are only the people who are deaf, mute, and hard of hearing? It's anyone and everyone who doesn't know sign language. Could be someone who is not deaf like me, but don't know sign language. Or it could be someone who's deaf, but still doesn't know sign language, right? Because it could be a case as well. So I don't think the definition of target audience and the solution that you're showing is matching, right? There's a mismatch out there. You need to fix that. Okay, integration of SignSense. Today's fast-paced world, online meetings have gained immense popularity. Their ability to quickly connect with a wide audience have made them a preferred choice. So it is about integrating into Zoom, Skype, Google Meet, and so on. Let's see how does that work. Once again, SignSense came to Vanshika's aid during her online meeting. In the past, she struggled to convey her thoughts through typing messages, which often took a lot of time. So you're saying Vanshika can type. So Vanshika is literate. She understands English. So why do you need this feature? Okay, maybe, for a generic someone, Vanshika knows English. Maybe there could be some other deaf person who doesn't know English. Maybe that's why it is, right? Otherwise, if I look at it, if Vanshika can read, I think reading this would be much faster than converting it into a 3D avatar, which is going to do all the sign language, right? It's much easier for Vanshika to read if she can read, right? Okay, let's see. Let's go back to where we were. Okay, so here you're saying that Vanshika initially had to type, everything had to happen through type, so the video call and all didn't make a lot of sense because essentially all the communication was happening via typing. You have solved it. Let's see how. Okay, now she can just turn on SignSense in the message tab. Okay, all right. So again, it's a part of the chat. Here is where Vanshika is turning on, right? It's not the other person. So it is initiated by Vanshika. So here maybe, she is the user in a way, right? Okay, so once Vanshika turns it on, it's a toggle. What happens after that? Just use your sign. Once you turn on, just use your sign. Rest our AI will translate. Okay. Now she can directly translate her sign language to text messages. Okay. Let's see what's happening here. Today I would like to, okay, that is getting, I think, live translated, and there's a indication which says the user is using SignSense, which is like a chat bubble. So the chat message is coming like normal text, but an instruction or a for your information is coming like a chat bubble. Why? Why? Right? This doesn't need to look like a chat bubble, because this looks like a chat bubble where it is just an instruction. So, here the other people, right? Maybe this guy, Joe Carlson is looking at Vanshika, right? So this message is for Joe. Hey, Joe, the user is using SignSense. So it's an instruction, but why do you make it look like a chat bubble, especially on a chat interface, right? Okay. All right. Now she can directly translate her sign language into text messages, which saves her time and energy by avoiding typing long messages. Okay. Now, considering emergency situations employed in CC. Okay, we're going to the CCTV. But what happened? how does Joe reply back? Joe will type, I guess, Joe or anybody else who else in the call, right? Ayush, Lucy, and Janelia, they will again have to type. So here you're reducing the effort only for Vanshika, that she won't have to type. She can use her sign language, whereas the rest of the people will still have to type. And Vanshika will still have to read. So how much of the problem have you solved? Sure, this is definitely good. One part of the problem is getting solved, which is now at least someone who's deaf and mute can come and join, right? They can use a sign language and it gets translated. But I don't think the loop is closed here because some of the problem still exists. Okay, let's go and see. Now, considering emergency situations, sign sense can be employed with CCTV cameras. Okay, considering a scenario is in a crowded place, Alex. Okay, now we have different person. It's not Vanshika, it's Alex, who relies on sign language to communicate, suddenly faces an emergency with no one else around and spotted by a nearby CCTV camera and urgently signaled for helps using sign. Hey, how else do CCTVs work? Do CCTV cameras have mics? I don't know. That too at a public place like this. This looks like a large parking lot. Do CCTV cameras have mics? I don't think so, because if there is no mic, then whether Alex is deaf, mute or anything, nobody will get to hear him, right? And are you saying that, now everyone will need to learn sign language in case you get trapped on an emergency situation and you're being seen through a CCTV? So I think that's a thing. Of course, if it can be translated, well and good, but then there's another layer of challenge. The probability of a deaf and mute getting stuck at a lonely parking lot is lesser compared to someone who can maybe, can speak, can hear everything, right? So maybe that would be a bigger problem to solve, because the problem exists for us also. Like if I get trapped in a parking lot like this, and if the CCTV camera doesn't have a mic, there's no way I can communicate as well. I'll still have to keep doing these gestures and all until someone sees me, right? I think it's same out here. But okay, in the future, there could be some use cases which I'm not able to imagine right now, but okay, good enough. The integration of sign sense into CCTV cameras would be enable person for surveilling to understand the individual sign language and quickly respond for assistance. Okay, it's not just sign language here. I think I already mentioned her. Sure. Further scenarios for sign sense. Intro to quality education. Sign sense makes it possible to offer excellent education using sign language and translation. Okay. Intro into smart glasses, into healthcare. See, all these things can be classified under communication, right? You're saying that into healthcare, for example, if I take that example, can assist doctors in gaining better understanding during consulting patients who use sign language to communicate. You use it everywhere, This can help shopkeeper to understand the needs of someone who is deaf and mute, what they want to buy. So it is available everywhere, right? It's communication, basic communication, right? You're walking down the street, you're buying a pencil or you're buying a shoes or you bump it into someone. It is for any kind of communication. Wherever you speak as a person who can speak, this is an alternative to that. Right? So some of these use cases are sure, but then it has a much more wider usage is what I would say. Okay, let's go and see. There's a video here. There's a video. Okay, I guess the video should... And it ended. All right. Okay, I don't know what to say out here. Okay, let's look at this, right? Sign sense, it's a very noble product that you are proposing. It's a noble product. If a product like sign sense actually comes where, there is a possibility to translate someone's sign language in real time into text or audio or something, it's great. It's perfect. We need such products in the world. But if you look at this is a design case study and you are getting evaluated as a designer. How good a designer Urjit is, and will he get called for an interview using this? That's where it comes. So the product can be novel, but an interviewer will always look into what is Urjit's design contribution in it. And that's where I have some thoughts. So let's come to the most interesting part of any review that I do out here is the verdict. So will I call Urjit for an interview for the role of product design 1? And my verdict is a no. You all might have guessed it. I have multiple reasons why it's a no, because first of all, had this been a case study of a developer, the developer who has actually developed how, the sign language could be understood, identified, and translated into text, I would definitely call that person for an interview. Of course, I won't be interviewing a developer, but in case I do in a hypothetical situation, I will definitely do that because that's where the core, the meat of this project lies. But when it comes to design, I don't see a lot of innovation that has come from Urijit, because most of the things were existing, like the Google Lens, the way the tabs and all exist are already present. Maybe it's a good solution which Google people have already solved, but what is Urijit's contribution in this? I don't really see that. In addition to that, there were serious accessibility problems, or rather UX problems, let me just call it UX problems in these screens where the user would get confused. Like, what happens after this? Is this a screen that stays for 2 seconds and then goes away because it looks like an empty chat screen, but without the chat box. And then suddenly it becomes a camera. And from the camera, what is my way to go to the chat? Because I see the next screen itself is a chat. And then how do I go back from the chat to the camera? What if it's a continued conversation? Vanshika said something, I sent a reply. Vanshika has a follow-up question. How do I do that? I don't see any ways of doing that, because those are the things which will determine if this is a good case study in terms of design or not. And in absence of any of these, I am not able to judge. And above all, there's another doubt which remains. So this is a group case study. So there are 3 people involved, Ayush, Tanmay, and Urijit. What part of it was done by Urijit? Because he's the one who approached me. So even if I feel, it's a good case study, who would I call for an interview? Urijit, Tanmay, Ayush, or all of them? So yeah, because of all these reasons, I wouldn't be calling Urijit for an interview because he's the one who reached out to me for this. But this thing can be made much better. I see that this is a design competition in which Urijit had worked on. So had it been a hackathon where you have done all these things over one night, it's a great job. You have considered a lot of things and you have done. But a hackathon output and a job interview are 2 completely different games. Hackathons are, it shows how resilient you are and how quickly can you come up with a good enough solution. But whereas a case study for job interview needs a lot more. It needs you to look into a lot more things. It needs you to have much deeper understanding of what you're doing and everything, which I see absent in this. And again, a tip for Urijit and also for everyone, if you have worked on a project which is worked on by multiple people, like as in this case, specify which part of the work who has done. Otherwise, it gets very difficult to understand what is Urijit's or that person's contribution is. Yep, there's no way to judge that as well. So either call out who has done what so that whoever is viewing it would know it, or have different case studies. Maybe, focus on the parts where you individual people have worked on, and that way it would be much easier for the viewer or your interviewer to take a call around it. All right, folks. So that's all for today. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this case study, and let me know if you liked it as much as I enjoyed reviewing this case study. And if you want your case studies to be reviewed, head on to my community at nas.io/sapta. I will leave the link in the description and drop your link on the appropriate forum. Every week I pick one of them. So that's all for today. I hope you had a great time. This is Sapta signing off.